Hey, welcome to our brand new podcast, Change My Mind. I'm your host, Lynda Steele.
And I'm your producer, Melanie Nagy.
And Mel, we are both, I think it's safe to say, we are news hounds. I've been in the news business for decades, and I don't think I've ever seen it as hot as it is right now.
That's right. I mean, you and I met in a newsroom. Same like you. I was in the business for over 20 years. I mean, our relationship was rooted in this passion for news, but it has shifted. I mean, like you said, it's coming at us all the time. It's heavy news. It's hard news. It's from the global level to the local level. It seems that you just can't escape it. It's everywhere. And I mean, we love the news. It's what we did. It's what we dedicated our lives to. But for other folks that are just casual consumers, it's a lot to take in.
It is. And people say, why are you doing a podcast now? There's thousands of podcasts to choose from. And there's a couple of different reasons. Partially because I want to scratch that itch of dying to talk to people about really interesting and concerning and important things that are going on in the world. But also largely because we have stopped learning how to talk to each other and listen and not just sort of talk past each other.
And it's true. And you see it when you turn on the TV, when you watch pundits, when you watch, panels. Often it's people just plowing through their points, talking over each other. We can see it at the dinner table too. It doesn't just have to be in that news cycle. There are topics that are controversial. People start talking. Something happened where the listening got lost. We're just talking through each other, talking at each other. It impacts relationships. It impacts friendships. It impacts families. And like you said, I mean, we really want to kind of reconnect to what it means to have meaningful, purposeful conversations rooted in civility, respect, and understanding. I think, and I think you would agree, we can look at really difficult topics, controversial topics, and we can tackle them. I mean, you and I, even in our lives, when we're out together having dinner, sometimes we'll hit a topic and we might not see eye to eye, but we never leave that dinner table angry at each other. We always find a way to resolve it. And I think we're kind of trying to take what we've explored even in our personal life and our friendship and with our news experience and bring that all together.
It's so true. And I think one of the other issues, too, is that people are trying to be more open-minded. And some people are more successful at it than others, because the reality is we're living in an era where people are able to go down rabbit holes. And this whole confirmation bias is really permeating everything. So if you believe A, B, C, then you're going to seek out information sources that substantiate what you already believe. That means we stop learning, we stop listening, and the divide grows wider. And right now, I think the world's in a dangerous place, because if we stop listening to each other when we're dealing with pandemics and potential wars and financial crises, then we're in a very dark place and we don't move forward together as a group. And we have to learn how to get back to active listening, how to be kind, and how to say, okay, I have the strength of my convictions, but I'm willing to hear your point of view and move my yardstick. So I at least come away from it knowing more about where you're coming from.
I so agree. I mean, you said it so well. So much of conversations seem to be happening in silos, kind of in this ideological echo chamber where often too, it's people often are rewarded for their outrage, for their loudness. I mean, they get the clicks, they get the likes. I mean, yeah, people are rewarded sometimes for that noise. And it seems that sometimes like those rewards, whether it's like a pat on the back in a social conversation or on social media, that incentivization, it becomes like slogan over substance, polarization over understanding. And like you said, I think now more than ever, we need to come back to understanding that conversations can happen in calm ways. We can learn each other. What about being curious? I mean, like you said, we don't necessarily have to agree with the person, but what about being curious? Like, where does their view of that come from? Where did they get that information? What does it mean to them? How do they feel that way? Like, I think interjecting a little bit of that curiosity, which I know both of us have by nature, because that's what journalists are. We're curious people. I just feel like there's also that loss of curiosity as to the reasons why people feel the way they feel, and really like listening to them and giving them that opportunity to share that.
Yeah, and also, speaking to the why now, I think this
Mm.
is a really important time for us to be kind of digging into some of these big issues because they impact us all in small ways and in sometimes very impactful ways. And the news cycle is so hot and there's no sort of relief from it. It's like a 24/7 fire hose of craziness sometimes. We're getting to the point now where every single thing that's happening almost by the hour is touching your life in a way that you can learn something by just being more open minded, being aware that something's coming down the pipe, or at least just keeping the channels open so that you can start to understand why other people feel the way they do. So there's no shortage of potential topics. And I mean, we've just, between you and I, thought, oh my gosh, I mean, like dozens of things that we could jump off of. But things like, for example, even the fixation with weight loss drugs, which seem to be everywhere. I just read today that there's now new research that they believe that these GLP-1s can maybe cure blood cancers. And you're thinking, wow, what do I feel about weight loss drugs? Is that like a cheating way to lose a few pounds, or is it actually a good thing for society and something
Mhm.
that we should be looking into, that there could be all kinds of benefits to these things that we're even unaware of? So we're going to tap into things like that, but also some really populist, interesting things that are starting to surface culturally.
Well, I think it's interesting that you say that because we come from a hard news background. That is our background. But it's even in this place of polarization, what we used to call, say, in our news business, water cooler
Yeah.
conversations or the kickers, those lighter kind of topics. Even those can be um controversial. Um talking to the dead? Is there an afterlife? Certain things we see on social media. Like, so it's the hard news. It seems like all topics can be polarizing now. So yeah, that's why. And I think it's that curiosity again. You and I are going to touch on like a wide spectrum of topics. And I think since we're talking about the topics, I think, Linda, why don't we talk a little bit about how the format and how this will be, because Change My Mind isn't just about the discussion. It's kind of a journey for you. You're going on a bit of a journey with
Yes.
you as the host when it comes to these topics.
And kind of the genesis for this was me when I was in talk radio, coming from Alberta into a more sort of left wing city like Vancouver. Some of the things I hadn't been exposed to, some of the ideas, some of the people, and I wasn't sure because I hadn't been forced to kind of look in the mirror and think, how do you feel about this, really? So I remember in the beginning, there were some people in the audience saying, oh, move back to Alberta and you just shove off and you don't know what you're talking about. But for me, it was about being exposed and being open-minded. So over the course of time and through the course of many interviews, sometimes on the same subject, I would start to kind of move my mental yardsticks and go, okay, you know what? Maybe sometimes I still feel the strength of my conviction about this subject, but I now understand why other people think differently, or maybe I've sort of modified my opinion a bit. So what we're going to do is to kind of recreate this in podcast form. We're going to take a subject, I'll set it up, I'll reveal my personal opinion about it. We'll set up some of the kind of basic facts to layer in what we're going to be talking about. And then you'll come into the conversation with me, kind of drill down a little bit to poke and prod about where I'm at so we can kind of get my position on the table. And then after
And
that,
you,
you're going to introduce the guest.
that's right. So it'll be you and the topic and a bit of a conversation on that topic. And then we will introduce a guest. That's another thing. Just like we had a lot of topics to explore, we have a lot of interesting people to connect with on these topics. So it'll be bringing in a guest. You'll have a conversation, one in which, it could be rooted in emotion. It could be rooted in opposing feelings. But the goal, and hopefully the goal will be that will be an example of discourse and conversation that can be meaningful and connecting, and it doesn't have to be confrontational. And from there, I get to come back in and talk to you about how you felt about that conversation. Did it move the needle for you? Did it change your mind? It may not, and that's okay too, right? And then we leave it to you to kind of summarize what you take away from that conversation.
And the bottom line is, we're not asking the people who listen to the podcast to change their minds. To your point, we're asking them to come on a journey, a respectful journey with us, to hopefully learn more, to understand more, to potentially change your mind. But the key is curiosity. And
Mhm.
that's my favorite word. I think we all have to stay curious, and I think we have to stay open-minded. So I'm really looking forward to this. We're going to drop a podcast once a week, hopefully, and we'll see where that's going to go. We're also going to let people reach out to us because we do have an email address, which we'll put at the bottom of the screen. You can see it's askcmmpod@gmail.com. You'll be able to get in touch with us on social media as well. But I'm really excited about it, Mel. I'm excited
I am
about
so
talking to other
excited.
people. And I'm excited about getting back into the kind of media conversation world with Melanie Nagy too, my friend.
Yeah, I am so excited. I mean, we've been talking about something like this for a while. I think we've got a great opportunity. And I love what you said. I'm just really gonna hold on to curiosity. I'm excited to see you navigate and go on a journey with these guests and these different conversations. We are a two-woman team. I mean, we are podcasting for the first time, so
Woohoo!
bear with us on our
Yeah.
technical experience. We are just two people taking this on because not just because we love the news, but we really want to be curious. And like you said, it's all that being open-minded and learning to listen and hopefully, I mean, I know this might be a bit um I don't want to say Pollyanna, but a bit high thinking, but maybe maybe people will somehow take examples and maybe we can move the needle a bit on how we communicate and connect with each other. That would be amazing.
And I'm pretty sure we're going to learn a lot of things ourselves. So the podcast is called Change My Mind, and I hope you're going to join us. Thanks for listening.
Change my mind. Change my